some of the stuff that Trump is talking about. He's dumping all sorts of things that he wants to talk about, and one of which is what he wants to do with regards to big tech, social media, censorship, all of that. And joining us to talk about it is our good friend, national spokesperson for Parler, Amy Robbins. Amy, it's good to see you.
Woohoo is all I can say.
Yes, indeed. We do. Amy and I were talking the other day, and there's a lot to celebrate right now, folks. A lot to celebrate. Not just what we're talking about today, not just the election, so much more. There really is, and hopefully we can all kind of find some joy as we're heading into this holiday season. But one thing that'll bring joy is what Trump talked about with regards to social media, big tech, and all of that. And he went on a long rant about it. Amy and I talked about this morning. We're going to break it into two clips. So let's play the first one, and we'll just discuss as we go with each, because what he said, and I encourage you to go watch the whole thing, by the way, if you have not already. Go check it out. But let's break it down in these clips and have a good conversation. Disco, roll one.
Fourth, we need to break up the entire toxic censorship industry that has arisen under the false guise of tackling so-called mis- and disinformation. The federal government should immediately stop funding all nonprofits and academic programs that support this authoritarian project. If any U.S. university is discovered to have engaged in censorship activities or election interferences in the past, such as flagging social media content for removal of blacklisting, those universities should lose federal research dollars and federal student loan support for a period of 5 years and maybe more.
I love it. What say you?
I don't know any freedom-loving person who did not go back and watch these clips, because just to provide a little context, these videos aren't new. They are actually from 2022 to 2023 when Trump, was announcing that he was going to be running again. But he put out some really bold initiatives, and I think people are finally replaying the videos, or maybe they never even heard them to begin with. And so now these clips are going viral all over the internet, and every single person that went to the polls to vote for freedom is listening to this saying, yes, freedom is back. You cannot hear these bold stances. And I have to say, this was one of the most powerful stances from a government official and now newly elected president on standing up for our rights, because we've just been hammered for the last 4 years at every single turn, hearing them tell us that everything that we are putting out there is misinformation or is disinformation, and it needs to be taken down off the internet. We need to backdoor, coerce big tech platforms to censor this information, that, the government wants to be the arbiters of truth. It's just been ingrained in our heads. And so to see someone like President Trump stand up and say this is absolutely not happening is just such a breath of fresh air. And I think one of the things that I was so excited about in regards to this is just the language that he is using. Break up the entire toxic censorship industry. That is not a typical phrase that you hear from normal politicians. And I think it goes to show that that's why people love Donald Trump so much, because he gets it. He understands that, yes, this censorship industry is toxic. It is toxic to our fundamental freedoms. And so, yeah, that clip is really exciting. He goes on to say some really amazing things in the rest of that clip, but it's like a 6-minute video. So like you said, I urge everybody to go and listen to the entire thing so you actually know what his plans are.
Well, absolutely. And like you said, it is so refreshing and crazy to hear in this day and age. And we've come to expect it from Trump, but You have most folks who look at this, and they've been hearing about it, right? The folks in the establishment, whether you're got an R next to your name or a D next to your name, they've been well aware of what's going on. And most people look at a problem or an issue like this, one that in this case suppresses voices of Americans, and they say, okay, we could fix it, or we could capitalize on this somehow. How do we do this? And they let it stand. They'll say some feisty things, but do absolutely nothing, as we've seen time and time again. And then figure out ways that it continues to benefit them, and we continue to get put down. And you see Trump come in, and he does this on so many issues, but this is a really important one, because having our voices heard is super important. And he just tears up the book, throws it in the fire, and says we're not doing this.
Well, yeah, but remember what happened to him. I mean, he, like so many of us, was the product of censorship. Yep. He was the victim of big tech kicking him off of Twitter, which had never been done before to any president of the United States. So he gets it. He gets it firsthand what happened to him. I mean, we get it over here at Parler that exact same time as when we got kicked off AWS, we got kicked out of Google, we got kicked out of Apple. And so many of our users, you know, they were getting censored and banned on Meta and everything else. And so, like, he's just finally having somebody that resonates with us, that understands where we are, that understands why this has to have such a bold stance against it is really, it's just quite amazing, to be honest. And really, we just put out a statement from Parler just saying that we're just glad to have a free speech president back in office.
Yeah.
Or soon to be back in office. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and it's just, I mean, I feel like some companies, and I think this is changing too, but some companies have wanted to kind of avoid, you know, weighing in on all of this. But this is the time where I feel like, one, you had the inverse happening, where you had newspapers and publications saying, we're not endorsing this chick because she is just straight up bananas. And you have more people stepping up and saying, this is the guy. This is the guy. You might not have liked him. I'm not saying you guys, but we might not have liked him before whoever, wherever you stood on it. Everyone overwhelmingly said on November 5th, yeah, we're going with him. Because
oh yeah, well, I liked, when I woke up the next morning, I think it was one of the loudest testaments to how much legacy media's power is gone.
Yeah.
And is dead. And they were just as shocked as everybody else. I can't believe they were shocked. It's like they've been believing their own lies. But this speech just really took off again, because even after a landslide victory that Donald Trump had, you still had people like Van Jones and Joy Behar immediately calling for increased censorship on social media platforms. Why is that? Well, because they realized that Trump ran a completely different type of campaign this time. He wasn't doing the groundwork that traditionally a lot of these candidates do. He was going on podcasts. He was using the power of social media, where people had 24 access to him and his information through these alternative media sources, these independent sources. And so naturally, you know, the mainstream media is going to wake up the next day and say, oh, well, if this is what happens when we let information run wild on our platforms, well then, man, we really need to step in there and do something to shut this down. And I just don't think Trump is going to let that happen.
I don't think so too. So, quick side point. Then I know Disco has a question. I think Tom does too. But I don't know who I heard it from, and I don't remember if it was even today or yesterday. That's just kind of how the last 48 hours have been. but they were like, I think we're playing a clip later in the show actually. But can you believe they're talking about themselves, legacy media, that we don't have the relevance anymore? They were like opining and lamenting. He went on Joe Rogan's podcast. And like, Joe Rogan's like bigger than us now. Like, yes, like galaxies bigger than you. No one watches or pays attention to you anymore. And if they do, they're in an airport or it's on in the background in their house, and they're miserable people. But it was just astonishing. But you go ahead.
Well, and he's bigger than all of them, even despite their attempt to even shut down that episode with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Like you go back and you look at like the search features that weren't allowing you to find the episode. I mean, it's just insane the power that these independent sources are now having, and goes to show you why it is so important to have alternative platforms. We can't just be solely dependent and reliant on the old form of big tech anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Well, and
Good point to say download Parler. Go.
Yeah, and we know that Trump, and we know that Kamala went on some podcasts and everything, but I was reading an article over the weekend that Barron was the one that said to his dad, you need to go on Joe Rogan. You need to start doing these podcasts, because that's how you're going to reach the people you don't reach yet, because they don't watch mainstream media. And so that's why he's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I believe that's really what helped him communicate to these people.
No, he's run a better campaign, and that tall son of a bitch. And
oh my gosh, he's so tall.
But he's had a great impact. Tom, you're chuckling in the background. Jump in.
Yeah, I think it's astonishing, shocking, whatever adjective that you want to throw out there, that we're all celebrating the fact that we have an American president who's standing up for free speech. What is even going on?
Right?
It's amazing to me that like we're as giddy as we are right now, but that just shows you what the censorship industrial complex has done over the last 10 15 years, and the whole cancel culture that we had to live through. So hopefully, I'm have a little bit hesitancy, not wanting to get out over my skis, because I have a lot of fears of the uniparty and plus the bureaucracy within DC, and also in big tech, in YouTube and so forth, of, do they double down at this point, or do you think that they'll sort of acquiesce and go, you know what, we tried to suppress people, but it's just not working? Or do you think they go all in now at this point to be the resistance again against Trump?
That's a great question, and I was kind of thinking about this. So I think he has a couple of things that he can do, and another piece in this video clip that we haven't gotten to yet is when he called on Congress to make a revision in Section 230. And I'll get into what that means here in just a little bit. But like, he's trying to actually go ahead and, I think, legislatively put some things in place that he can do. And then outside of that, he really is one of the first presidents to step up and actually try to tackle and call out bureaucrats, because it's the bureaucrats, it's these unelected officials that I think we have to worry about even more so than the elected officials, because they're held to different standards. And so I think that he's going to do everything within his power. We're still praying that we win the House. But if he wins the House and he wins the Senate, I think he's going to be able to pull off a lot of this Agenda 47 that he's been talking about.
Yeah. Well, and let's play that other clip. We've got another clip. Let's play that, and then we can continue this discussion.
Third, upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk revising Section 230 to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech.
So much to break down on Section 230 for people that are not familiar with what this really does. But basically what he is saying, this is just one little clause in Section 230, which protects social media platforms basically from immunity as long as they are moderating in a decent way. So there's a clause at Section 230C2 provides Good Samaritan protection from civil liability for operators of interactive computer services in the good faith removal or moderation of third-party material that they deem, and here's the kicker, obscene, lewd, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable. So that is the information that falls under this Good Samaritan protection. However, what these big tech platforms have now done is taken that way further and have actually started moderating or censoring typically information like political posts or health freedom information that they don't agree with. And so that is why people are arguing that there needs to be some type of revision to this section, that they're not just getting super immunity anymore. And I liked what Trump said when he went on to actually lay out, what did he say? He said they have to meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination, because that is what is not happening right now.
Yeah. What's not happening and what's supposed to be happening. You get these protections but there's no follow through on that right now. What's remarkable too is during this election and some of the run up, you hear, I don't know, it wasn't that widespread. At least I didn't hear it that widespread. Maybe it was, but you'd hear some Democrats saying, because they were frustrated with how things were going and how polling was going, we need to revise 230. It's like, what? I beg your pardon? Like, that's what we've been saying. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And you're going to get the raw end of the deal here. You're talking about revising it so it gives you even more control. What we need is a fair, transparent thing, and it's not just 230. That should be everything. That should be our government works for us.
Not give them immunity anymore for not taking down child pornography.
Right.
Like, they continue to let this circulate on their platform and then claim, oh, Good Samaritan clause, because we can't be held responsible for what information is put up on our website. So they actively take down and discriminate against political ideologies and beliefs that they don't agree with while letting child pornography run rampant on their platforms. Make it make sense. Yeah. So there definitely needs to be some type of revision. There needs to be some type of laws on the book, because there currently are no laws on the book that make these social media platforms take down child pornography. And then we also need big tech platforms to step up and start being responsible, like what Parler is doing, and just taking a stand against pornography in general. If you just say we're just not going to allow it on our platform, well, then you don't have to worry about letting this porn's okay, but this porn's not okay. You just take a stand against it. And I would love to see other platforms do the same thing.
Absolutely, they need to, and it's just a clear line. If you're having to ask yourself, is this or is this not? It is. Like, stop it. Like, this is pretty clear. I love what you guys are doing there. I also just love always having you on the show. Like, we just have to make Amy part of the show. It's been fun all the years we've known Amy.
Count me in. I'm in. I got my new studio, I said, that matches your studio in some regards. So I'm in. You just tell me when, guys.
I love it. Well, I love it. I love having you on as always.
We're live.
I love what you guys are doing at Parler.
We're live Monday through Thursday. 3
Just give her straight access to the controller. But yeah, so I mean, I love what you guys are doing there, because honestly, so many good things happening at Parler. So many good things have happened at Parler, past tense, and are happening now and are coming. And this is the leadership that's happening and that is present at Parler now is taking things in the right direction. So I'm super pumped about that. I hope some other places get fixed too, to be clear. But I can promise you that the mindset and the mentality behind how things are being done at Parler right now is where you and where we, the American people, want it to be. So make sure that you go there and check it out. Get back logged in. Go to Play TV. Check that out as well. That's been awesome. So many good things on the horizon there.
Yeah, actually, we have some questions from the viewers, Amy, about the app and everything. They've said that they've tried to get back in and they can't. Should they take the app off their phone or their devices and re-download it? Like, how do they? They're having problems.
You can do that, and I've talked a little bit about this over the last couple of weeks when I have it on the show. So we are going through an entire new UI UX rebuild, and we're also continually launching new products right now. So if it's a little glitchy, you can delete it, you can re-download it. But if you actually have any issues getting into your account, you can always reach out to our support team at support@parler.com, and we have real people that will answer your questions, real people that will actually help you get into your account. Because if you had an old account, your email is still active if that's the one that you want to use. So definitely give that a try. And then in a couple of weeks, when we roll out the entire rollout, it's going to have a new look, a new feel, and it's just going to be awesome. So just hang in there. We love that you're with us on the ground level with all this. You got to remember, we just relaunched this in February. So we went from buying a dead social media platform in December to completely rebuilding it on our own private cloud, reviving it, giving it new life, and then now also launching all of these other censor-free platforms like Play TV, like Burst, like our Parler Pay digital wallet. I mean, there's so many exciting things. But yes, if you've got any issues at all, you can always reach out to our team and they'll help you.
Awesome. And they are awesome. Like, literally, I won't name names, but I was talking to one of our people in our ecosystem, very nice fella, but was having issues this weekend and pinged me. It's like, whoa, why are you pinging me on the weekend? There's football on. Like, you don't do that. But I got right on the horn with a contact over there, and boom, things were fixed.
Yep. I will say too, we just did our Parler Optio launch this week. We are officially on the Optio blockchain. We have chosen Optio to partner with. We are so excited about that, because as you go into Parler and Play TV, when you stick with us and you secure your digital Parler Pay wallet, you're already going to start to see your Opt digital rewards just stacking up inside that wallet. So
yeah, no, I mean, we could do, and you know what? That's probably the cue for we need to do another Amy Robbins visit for that, because there's so much to unpack with that, and there's so much, so much that's exciting for everyone, you included in the audience who participate and are on Parler. Cowboy saying, I'm back on there. There's still some glitches and problems. Like Amy said, total rebuild happening right now, and this has still been pretty quiet. So just hang in there. It's going to be awesome. It's great now.
It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, it's totally going to be worth it. So there's no bias here, but I promise you it will be. I promise you it will be. So stay with it. Amy, thanks so much for spending time with us today. It's awesome as always to have you on.
Always. Thanks, guys.
All right, folks, go check out Parler. Let us know, too, and ping us, send an email to producer@redbeachmedia.com. You send us all sorts of other things. Let us know if there's something that you're seeing there, and then we'll talk to our good friends at Parler, and you can obviously email support@parler.com. That's the faster, more direct way to do it. Good folks over there.